And we are on the air again for another great episode of the Dave K Show. And I have my beautiful co-host, Ms. Datha Buriege, with me live in the studio.
Hey guys.
And how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Excellent. We're doing very good. And I also have a very good friend of mine in the studio as our special guest today, Mr. Jeff Alvarez. Jeff, how you doing?
Not bad, not bad.
All right, Jeff. So glad to have you on the show today. We got a lot to talk about. I'm a great fan of your work. You do a great job. You are what I call a high-end photographer in the Baton Rouge area. I just call it that because that's what it is.
Right.
Your pictures are absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
I mean, yes, when you look at a picture of yours, you just got to stand back and go like, wait a minute, let me take this in. Hang on, Like I'm a videographer. We do a lot of video, and that's one thing. But when you take a still image and it hits you, and you just got to stand back and go like, oh, let me process this. Hang on a second. That's amazing.
Right. I'm glad I do that for people.
Right, exactly. And you do great work. So what we want to talk about, there's a lot of different things we want to talk about on our show today. And once again, everybody, we are broadcasting from the beautiful Julian Partridge Building in downtown New Roads, Louisiana, off the banks of Falls River. We love to promote our beautiful state of Louisiana, especially South Louisiana, and all the beautiful things that we have out here. So the Dave K Show is originating from Pointe-Coupee Parish, which we're extremely proud to say and we're excited about. So that being behind us, one other thing is we want to support PointeCoupeeReporter.com, Mr. Jeff Hornsby. He does a great job in getting all the local news and stuff going around Pointe-Coupee Parish out here on his website. He's going to have this show on the front page side banner of his website. So I want to give a shout out to Jeff Hornsby for helping us out. We're kind of helping each other out cross-platform promoting. So, okay, let's get into photography in general and just the creativity bug that hits everybody. And, we're all creative beings to one extent or another, and it's how we express our creativity. Could be anyway. It could be photography, videography. It could be film. It could be books. It could be literature.
Music.
Right.
Music is another way to do it right. So some people have multiple ways to express their creativity. I think everybody's born with the creative side to them, right?
Of course.
Yes,
Of course.
absolutely. So yours, of course, being photography is one of your main ones,
Absolutely,
and I'm
yeah.
sure that you have some other stuff that you do on the side too.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, okay, take us back, Jeff, to back when you were a kid, or whenever it was the first time you originally had a camera in your hand and you started to do something with it.
Honestly, the first time I ever had a camera was maybe around back in 2006. I was right before I joined the Army. I was still in high school. And, man, I actually before the camera, I started off with Photoshop. In high school, my science teacher introduced me to Photoshop, and I started fixing photos. I'd get things off of Google and even cartoons, black and white cartoons, and I actually learned how to color them in, fill them in. So I was always very interested in art. I like to draw. So when I got into the military, I finally had enough money to buy myself a nice camera. So I bought myself a Canon 40D, which was my first camera, and didn't have a lot of...
For those people who have Canon 40Ds right now, don't despise that. It's not the actual camera you have, it's how you use it, right?
Exactly.
Right. Absolutely. I started off with the Canon 40D and just took pictures here and there. Actually, I took a lot of military pictures as well, just like our little formations and a lot of tactical stuff that we did in the infantry. And then from there, when I got out of the military is when I actually started pursuing it professionally.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Right. So basically, you got started from the outside going back in, right? So you
Right.
start off in photography, then go to Photoshop. So
Normally, that's the way it goes.
it is. So I got to ask you, so how does starting off in Photoshop, winding up with the end result and working your way backwards, has that helped you to be a better photographer in any kind of way?
No, I don't necessarily think so. I mean, it helps in the fact that you kind of concentrate on more the editing part before you concentrate on angles and camera settings and all that and lighting. You start learning how to edit. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter which way you start because
Right.
in the end result, you still eventually get to a parallel where you're learning both.
Exactly.
Right.
So now in this day and time of because all this technology is available to anybody freely and pretty cheaply also. So in this day and time of photography in the 2019, 2020, do you think that photographers would need to be skilled in the whole gamut from pre-production photography and post, or are people taking pictures and then handing them off to other people who use Photoshop or Lightroom, or should they be well versed in everything?
Honestly, I believe if you want to save money, you want to do everything yourself. So you want to learn the whole aspect when it comes down to the camera as well as editing. But they have a lot of well-known photographers who don't have time with all the clients that they get to edit their own photos, so they'll outsource it to other companies that do the editing for them. And that's actually very hard to find a good company that will do decent editing.
Right, and once again, it cuts into your bottom line because it costs money.
Right.
So what do you think, Datha? I mean, it's probably best just to learn it all.
Oh, I agree. That's the best way to save money is do it yourself.
Yeah.
And you learn
Yeah.
so much.
Absolutely. And you get a sense of accomplishment as well, because then you're like,
Exactly.
that is my image.
My
I'm not
work.
sharing that image with anybody else except
Right.
for the modeling yourself.
That's right. It's my piece of art.
Exactly. So I have to ask you also, so through the years, when did you first get started, I guess on a semi-professional basis, and then working your way to where you are now?
Well, I started in 2010, right after I got out of the military. I really didn't have a set plan. So I had this Canon 40D that I bought that I really didn't use that often. And I was like, you know what? Let me find a way to make some money. So I didn't start off because I loved the art side of it. I actually started off because I needed the economic side of it.
Right.
Cha-ching.
Right.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So when you got started with your little Canon 40D, obviously you didn't have a full studio of equipment. So how were you taking pictures back then with just your camera?
It was just the camera. You know, little by little, I started seeing things that I needed. I started with the Canon 40D and did a lot of outside shots. And of course, whenever you start off, you're not really that great at it. You're just learning the ins and outs. I think the next purchase that I made was a flash because I started noticing, well, this is a good picture, but I need a little bit more to it.
Right.
So little by little, you start buying little knick-knack things that you need that you notice is missing in your photography.
Sure, right, exactly. So you got your flash, you got some other accessories coming up through the line. So what kind of a lens? Was you using like a kit lens? Or?
Yeah, everything was kit. I mean, I didn't have a name for myself. Like I said, I had just got out the military, no plan, trying to squeeze, a penny to make into a dime.
Right.
And I used the Canon, and it worked great, man. And I started getting recognition. People started, hey, look, I saw your picture. I started asking models, hey, I know you don't really do this for free, but maybe we could do a TFP, which is a trade for prints, is a term.
Right.
And yeah, they helped out a lot. A lot of people, really supported me from the beginning, even though my work wasn't, in my opinion, up to par.
Right. So I think that's a very important note that you said. We need to stop on that and talk about that a little bit because you just getting started out as a photographer. Okay, let's push that back to the model or the person in front of your lens. A lot of times they're just getting started.
Right.
So that's a great position for both people to be in because you want to be able to help each other out. You said like the TFP, like that. And I'm amazed to see some of the amateur models out there who actually expect to get paid for something. They go to a professional photographer expecting like, well, you got to pay me, but you're not even really that experienced. I got this whole studio full of equipment with my experience. So we got to kind of see where we are on both levels and work with each other like that. So Datha, I have to ask, you've been doing some pictures too for quite a while and everything. So when did you first get started in your modeling and interested in being in front of the camera?
Well, I've always been interested in being in front of the camera. That started since I was, probably about 5, 6 years old. Well, no, I was about 8 when I sat in front of the mirror and did my little news broadcast
Your little
thing.
posing and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
But as far as actual photography work with the professional photographers, probably, I'm going to say 2011,
Really?
maybe?
So that's super recent also.
Yeah, and I've been pretty much on it ever since. Learned, you got to do the catwalk. That was 2 hours every time we went. Every time I went, I had to learn to walk. And that's something you never forget. And the posing,
That's
yeah,
hard,
that's
but it actually
hard.
comes with time.
It does. And the way you stretch, you never know you had muscles you never knew you had.
I usually tell
mean-
my models the most uncomfortable poses are the
best.
nicest looking ones.
Exactly.
Right.
So I know they feel uncomfortable when they're sitting there like,
Right.
but at the end of the day, it's all about what you have to sacrifice to get a good shot.
Right.
Exactly.
The shoes,
Mhm.
the clothes, the props.
Oh, I feel you.
I
Yes,
love
it
it. The
is.
backgrounds, people.
Right.
Got to go with backgrounds.
Backgrounds are amazing. So, Datha, talk a little bit about model preparation because the photographer comes to the site prepared with his arsenal, his gear, and everything. What are some things that the model must do when they come to a shoot?
All models must prepare by having plenty of clothes with you, at least 3 or 4 sets. That way, if you have something that doesn't match the background, be sure you bring extra different colors. You don't want to have one set of outfits the same color.
Definitely.
Shoes, you always have to bring your shoes. Makeup is a must because you got to touch up. Hairspray, brushes, all the good things.
And some people they like to have a makeup artist and like hairstylists too. So, but people on a budget, a lot of models like to do hair themselves, their own makeup.
Yeah, I'm a budget girl, so I do it all myself.
Right, and you do a good job at it too. Because a lot of times, well, you know what you want, you know the look you're looking for, you know your face, you know the makeup you like, and everything.
Right. Teach yourself to do it. It's fun. YouTube peeps. YouTube.
Oh yeah, now you can learn everything from YouTube.
Everything. I learned to change lights, stain concrete.
Right. That's awesome. Yes.
Put a sink in. I mean a faucet in, y'all.
Right.
Shout out.
So yeah, let's get to the posing technique of it too, because posing seems like, and you can make it as complicated as you want. I mean, look at the pictures. There's just a trillion different poses out there, but I find that poses start off with certain basic poses, and you work your way from there, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you have your go-tos. A lot of photographers they'll direct the model in poses that they know work for them, right? But also it depends on how long you've been working with that model, because you'll know that model's best poses as well, depending on that chemistry that you have. If y'all have developed something together for a while, you'll know what looks best for her,
right,
or him.
Right.
Correct. That's right. So yeah. So once again, it goes hand in hand, and that's really cool about returning back to a photographer model that you work with. The more you work together as a team, the more your overall work just becomes amazing.
Right.
Exponentially. That's really
Right,
cool.
because you know what everybody's expecting from from each other at least.
Exactly. So obviously you're very successful in your photography. You're getting better and better all the time. It's fun to critique photos and see what's in a picture. Like when I look at your pictures, it's really cool because I don't even have to see your name at the bottom. I say that's a Jeff Alvarez picture right there, because you just know, right?
Yeah, man. A lot of photographers, they develop their own style, and sometimes every once in a while you'll stray to try something different, but for the most part you'll be able to tell. And I do the same with other photographers that I normally see on Facebook or on Instagram. I'm like, oh, I know exactly who took this picture.
Right.
Yep.
It's amazing how that works. You just know. It's really cool. So that being said, you have your own style, and I think it's really cool to kind of keep in your core style, because that's what sets you apart from everybody else. When you start trying to emulate other people's stuff, you get in trouble right there.
Well, yeah, that's when your artwork doesn't become unique anymore.
Right.
Yes.
You want to keep it unique.
Good point.
Oh, it's hard to find something that's your own, because when you look down the line, there's somebody somewhere who's tried it.
Yeah.
And, it's always good to get inspiration, but not to copy things verbatim. And sometimes, I mean, I've been guilty of it myself, where unintentionally looking at all these photos, you judge other people's work.
Right.
You start to kind of copy them, and you have to make yourself conscious of it and actually set yourself apart.
Right.
So you start trying different things.
Right.
Yes. And the cool thing about photography too, and specifically, is because there's so many different genres. It's like being a nurse. What kind of nursing you want to go into? Well, I'm going to go into ER. No, I want to go to bariatrics. I want to go into dialysis. Well, photography is the same way. There's landscape photography, fashion photography, children, portraits, weddings, just all kind of stuff.
There is.
And so the thing is, you have different styles for each one of those, and which is really cool. So of course, you've done a little bit of everything too. You've spread your work out over so many different.
Yeah, well, I try to be as diverse as possible. You test the waters, and then you learn what actually interests you and what you're actually really good at.
Yes.
But as a photographer and owning your own business, because you're not just a photographer, you have to also take on certain jobs that you might not be proficient on, but good enough to stay afloat.
Yes.
And you got to pay the bills. We all got to eat.
Right.
True. And the cool part about that is like you said, not only a photographer, but you wind up being even like a psychologist or psychiatrist. Sometimes you're dealing with people who have emotions, who have personalities.
Right, because every photo shoot ends up with a talk. Got to talk.
Oh, okay.
What's the problem?
What's
Well, yeah, but don't forget to take the picture.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about that. That's got to be some experience that you had in the past, right?
Oh, I mean, you're gonna become close with a photographer. You have to.
Right.
Especially depending on what type of sets you're doing.
As far as friend wise.
Right.
But yeah, but I mean, that's how you get good shots. Then you end up talking to them.
You have to be comfortable.
You have to, because if you're not comfortable, the shoot will not come out good.
Thank you. You're right.
And you're going to be able to tell.
Exactly.
I mean, you look at the model's face and
you
you're
can
like,
tell they're nervous.
They weren't in the right,
Right.
setup mindset.
And that'll affect a shoot big time.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
You want to be in the right state of mind when you're doing it.
And the cool thing about that, dealing with the human psychology and the way things work, is I mean, there may be an invisible wall, but you just know if you're not clicking together right off the bat if it works. And I'm amazed, like maybe do video and stuff like that. I'm working with people. It's like the first 5 minutes or maybe even 3 minutes of your encounter, you're going to be clicking with each other, or
Right.
you're gonna have some
Right.
problems.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and
Absolutely.
I think that also boils down to your personalities as a person. You know, because some people just come up uptight with problems and everything. Some people are just laid back and loose, and just whatever happens is cool. But if you can find that person to work with where your personality clicks really
Yeah.
really good.
Right.
Yeah. And that's when I've noticed that I do my best work, is whenever I click best with my models.
Well, yeah, because then you're both comfortable.
Yeah,
It's not a
which is
stressful
why I
situation.
stay away from kids for the most part.
Right.
Yeah, wow, right.
Because it's so hard to click with a child. You know, you eventually get to a point where the child's either going to cooperate or they're not.
Exactly.
And I find it really funny whenever the parents take the child and like, if you don't smile, I'm gonna.
Oh, I'm guilty.
And then the
of
kid,
that.
the kid starts crying, and they're not gonna smile if you start threatening
So
them.
you're just making things worse when you
Right.
do that, right? It's like, you know,
I was so guilty of
if
that.
you don't smile,
I had my oldest was supposed to be in photography. I tried. I had her an agent and everything. I'm like, she's gonna do this. She's super cute. She's gonna do it. I'm not wearing a dress. Well, you gotta wear a dress. That's part of the shoot. I'm not wearing the dress.
it's not happening.
wow.
Oh, and he got mad, and I got mad, and the kid got mad, and it's like,
And then the
shut
pictures aren't
down.
gonna go work out.
Guess who did the shoot that day? Yours truly.
You did.
And it come out
Yeah.
the best out of all of them almost.
Well, there you go. At least you
Yeah, it's
salvaged
funny.
something out of the whole
Right.
deal. So that's good. So now you know what not to do on that end. So that's good.
Yeah, but she wants to do it now. Go figure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll go through their phases.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. As a photographer, you have to learn how to adapt to those situations. So if the kid isn't working out and the parents are like, "Arr," you got to be like, okay, hold on, chill out.
Candy.
Let them do what they want to do. Make them let them, if they want to run around. That's sometimes you get the best shots that way as
You're
well.
right.
You have to adapt yourself. So you have to run around with them, rolling on the ground, but you get the most natural shots that way instead of yelling at them and like, hey.
And see, that's
smile.
what I prefer
Right.
over sitting and smiling.
Mhm.
That's the best shots. It's the ones that you don't expect to be the best shots.
Right.
True.
That's my opinion.
That's true. So that being said, that is really not your specialty. You kind
Children
No.
is not my forte. I mean, I've done it, and I've gotten away with it because I'll get some really good shots every once in a while. But I only take the job if the client really knows where I'm coming from. I always tell them, I'm always upfront with what I do, right? If I'm not really good at it, I'll tell them, look, this isn't my forte, but if you really want me to do it, I'll do it. And usually, my clients are like, look, we've seen your work, we want you to do it.
Right. That's great. And fortunately, there are people out there, photographers who specialize and they love that kind of thing.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
That's
some
when you
of 'em,
refer
yeah.
them. That's the problem with the photography community in a lot of points is that they're very competitive with each other. But from time to time, you'll meet a photographer that you really click with being a photographer. So you know what their strong points are as well. So if they do a baby maternity portraits, that's where you can refer some clients to them because hey, you want them to have good shots and
Right.
they'll get it best with this person,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
Some of the other photographers don't get that.
That's true.
They think that they have to fight for clients, but clients
right.
will always be there.
And the way you mentioned that is great. And the thing is there's so much work out there for everybody. There's room in the playing field for everybody.
Right.
I
Right.
promise you. There's enough work out there for everybody. That's a cool part about photography. You're never going to be without a job, without somebody that wants to take pictures of some event, some portraits, fashion or whatever. That's the cool part about it. Now, only the good people rise to the top, and they're very few. But all the up and comers and the people who are trying to get better, they're out there. They're a dime a dozen, pretty much. And so let's talk about this. So that's great. I want to talk about ethics and professionalism in photography because this is where models can get in trouble. Photographers can get in trouble a lot of times too. A lot of people want to become a photographer, but they have ulterior motives, And those people, if you're keen and you're smart and you got your wits about you, stay away from this guy. He's bad business.
Right.
That can become in the fashion industry, modeling, especially with so many different types of modeling that we have nowadays, and so many women willing to do so many different things. It can all go into the event photography, wedding photography, all of that stuff. So there are certain flags to look out for whatever level of photography you're taking a picture or you're being a model in front of the camera. So what I want to focus on right now, and I got a story to tell, you got a story, and you got a story to tell about all this, is the article that came out in the Morning Advocate recently about the wedding photographer who did not show up for the wedding. And we're going to talk about that because you have a personal interest in the story because you know some of the people involved.
Right.
I want to say, first of all, before we talk about that story, is that if you're not careful as a professional photographer, even as an amateur or semi-pro, this can happen to you if you're not careful in your business dealings. Because what happens is you get your schedule booked and everything, and if you're not organized with your schedule, a day can come and you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot I had a wedding that day.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened?
Right.
That can happen to the best of us. So, and I'll say that it almost happened to me 20 years ago, but fortunately, thank the Lord, I salvaged that wedding. I went to work that day, and probably about 10 o'clock in the morning, the bride calls me up. Dave, we're so glad to have you filming our wedding today. You know, can't wait to have you here at 2 o'clock. And I'm going like, oh my gosh, I'm working a 24-hour shift right now. Oh my goodness! So I started scrambling to my phone. Okay, so my best friend Henry, he's supposed to help me be the second videographer today. I called Henry up. I said, Henry, look, man, I accidentally came to work today. I have this wedding today. I'm not gonna be able to show up. Can you, and her girlfriend shot video too, can you and Maureen handle this wedding for me? I'll edit it. Dave, we got you covered, man. Don't worry about it. Well, they went in and shot the wedding. It came out great.
Yeah.
And I vowed that would never happen again, ever, 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 ever.
Yeah.
So my board over there's got all my schedule. I know what's going on. And for the ones that can't make a wedding and everything falls through, the least you can do is give a follow-up call and say, hey, look, I'm not going to make it. I'm sorry. I booked it. You know, do something.
That's why you always have a backup plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the same thing with photographers. You have a backup camera.
Right.
Yes.
You never know what's going to happen.
Right.
Especially, and weddings are so delicate.
Yeah.
You know, you have to, you either make it or break it. You know, I've always told my clients, you're going to eat the cake. The DJs only play once. You have the venue for one day. You wear the dress one day. This moment happens one time. The only thing you're going to have after are the photos and the video.
Yes.
That's it. So it kind of rides on your shoulders as a photographer. You know, you're sitting there, man, I hope I don't mess this up. Because this is their important day. You only get this once.
Yes.
You got one shot.
Unless they get divorced.
Right.
We're supposed to have it just once.
Right. Well, what's the percentage of people that get a divorce nowadays?
A lot.
50, 51%?
Yeah, it means I get hired twice.
Yes,
Exactly, right.
Cha-ching twice.
Yes.
It works
so
out.
That means like 1 out of every 2 weddings you take a picture of, they're probably going to wind up in divorce.
Well, no, yeah, and if you do a really, really good job, then you get the groom and the bride both
Wanna
the
hire
second
you
time.
again,
That's
yeah,
right.
right.
Then you got like extra double. Oh yeah. People,
It works
divorce
out.
is not
That
the
is
thing to do.
good
just
business
saying.
thinking there.
I'm not condoning
That's-
this. Stay married.
But I must say that, okay, so, and we got to go to the story in a second, but so I've been filming weddings for 22 years. I've slacked off over the past 5 years because they're just so time consuming and there's so much other video work to do. But that being said, I've had 3 weddings that I've shot the bride on her second wedding. Another one actually coming up on my board next weekend. I did her wedding about 18 years ago.
See
She's
what I'm saying?
getting married again this coming Saturday. And what else was it? I'm trying to think here. One couple got separated and wound up getting a divorce before I even got the video finished and sent to them. It's like 3 to 4 weeks later, they're having problems in their marriage. I'm going like,
I tell you what,
Las Vegas
Dave,
wedding.
if I was to ever get married again, I do not think I would do it legally because of the fact that that simple little piece of paper costs so much money to shred. It is so binding, and I think that's 90% of people's problems.
Yeah.
I really do, because once you sign that paper, it's like over.
well,
Some people need that paper.
Some people do.
Sometimes you need that in order to feel like it's solidified.
But as a second time going around,
right.
I can't do it.
There
No
you go.
papers.
That's right.
I might be diving into that again soon.
Oh no,
That's it.
I don't think that will ever happen again.
Never say never.
Look,
Watch.
the ring's
That's
got
true.
to bling, and
Never say never.
there is no bling and ring in this girl's. No,
Right.
no,
Watch.
no.
I'll be your
Yeah,
photographer for your wedding.
No.
Keep in mind, this is being recorded. We can go back and
I know, right?
And
We
we can-
have the evidence. Remember when you said you weren't going to get married?
I don't think so.
Boom.
Right. Well, she's already got a videographer and a photographer, so if it does happen, you're good. You
Oh,
know?
absolutely.
So,
We'll do this on the Dave K Show
Right.
live.
Yes.
That is awesome. So, yeah, that being said, like I said, it can happen to anybody with the best of intentions, but it's how do you handle it whenever it does happen? That's going to set you apart from a professional and from a piece of crap. I like
Right.
to say that.
Right.
Yeah.
And which you're allowed to-
Definitely.
So Jeff, tell us a little bit about what in the world happened with this situation.
Well, I actually saw somebody had tagged me on a news story from WBRZ of a couple who hired a photographer who paid them the deposit, and the photographer didn't show up. And so I
let me stop you there. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Let's pause it. Okay, the photographer didn't show up. Not necessarily a life-changing, a career-ending thing.
No.
If you can't make it, it could be an emergency, blah,
Something
blah, blah.
happened, yeah.
Okay, continue.
Well, this person had been communicating with the bride and groom. So the groom is sending him text messages, hey, we're here, where you at? And he was like, oh, I'm lost, but I'm headed that way. Well, he never showed up. After that, the groom had sent messages to that photographer and was like, okay, well, you didn't show up, so we're going to need a refund. Yeah, I'll send you a refund. Supposedly he sent the refund, but the payment never went through. So it's stuff like that you have to really be careful with, right? So I'm setting my red flags on the WBRZ video strip that they put on Facebook, and I'm saying, okay, well, these are the red flags, right? This is what you have to look out for as a photographer and being in the industry for a while.
Right.
First of all, photographers typically, and I say typically loosely, don't come cheap.
Right.
They don't. Photography's it can be expensive for a wedding because
For good work.
right, for good work.
Right.
So they had paid, I think, like $500 for this photographer to do the job. Now,
That
I'm
doesn't
not.
seem like much.
It doesn't seem like much, not for a
red
photographer.
flag number 2, right.
That's number one.
Or one,
Is,
okay.
is red flag number one, having a photographer that's cheap. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't good photographers that are cheap, or at least photographers that have decent work. You know, you have to price yourself at the skill set that you're at.
Right.
Right? So I put that as a red flag. You know, second red flag is, you know, make sure you keep your receipts.
Right.
Because you don't know what happens.
Right.
You know, the photographer might not show up. You'll have that to show the photographer, hey, look, you know, I paid the full amount, or I paid the deposit.
Yes.
You know,
if you take them to court, small claims, you got proof. And
Right. Always keep receipts.
So I'm setting up my red flags in the comments, and there are some people that agreed, some people that stuck up for the photographer because they know him because he supposedly does really good work. I seen his work. You know, I'm nobody to judge. Photography is totally subjective, and depending on your skill set and what you price yourself at, you know, okay, cool. What you think is great, what works good for you will work good for you. So I had people defending the photographer, and then one of them, which was the bride, that was scammed. And I guess she felt some type of way because of me saying, hey, if red flag number one is, why would you pay $500
Well,
for
yeah,
a
she's going
photographer?
to get defensive.
She
on
got
it.
defensive, which I
Right.
don't blame her on that
Right.
fact. You know, you do what you can afford.
So why bring it up if that's the case? Why call the news on
That's
it?
what
I
If
was
you're
thinking,
going to
right.
defend them.
But see, that was my biggest point.
Right.
If you're going to stick up for this photographer that scammed you, why drag their name through the dirt?
If it was publicity, he certainly got it, and maybe not in a negative way like we think. He might have got a good
They
positive
say
publicity.
there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Exactly.
You know?
Interesting.
So
That's a good way to
then-
look at it.
Maybe they scammed us.
Wow.
Ooh, plot
Maybe they're in
twist.
cahoots. No. Well, I don't want to make any assumptions. It's
No.
obviously a very delicate subject,
Right.
you know. But with that being said, they did say, hey, you know, we did this because we don't want other people to be scammed, and I understand that point of view. You
It
know?
wasn't his first time that this happened, is
No.
what I heard. It happened before.
That was
That's
another
the thing,
yeah.
though. Why didn't they look up that first before they paid for him, before they got him? Why didn't they do research?
Get references.
And get backup plans. I don't understand people that hire one person. If you know it's your one day, your perfect day, I'm going to have 2 photographers because that's just me. I think that way, though, because things happen.
It happens.
Sure.
Again, you have to go with what's your price point. You know, what
Right.
can you afford?
Right. In my case, my dad did my photography work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was free.
Yeah, that would have been
Yeah.
interesting
Well,
at
I
the
got
family
married-
reunion if you didn't show up.
Right.
Well, I got married in my mom's living room, so.
Hey, yeah, good work.
Hey,
You do what you
know?
can.
Hey, you know how much money we saved?
How
Yes,
much?
you did.
A lot.
Yeah.
I think it cost them like maybe $100.
Weddings aren't cheap.
No,
They're
I
not
never
cheap.
was much on the white dress and walking down. I don't have that many friends,
Mhm.
and I'll be honest with you, it would be a small wedding because I wouldn't invite that many. I'm
Yeah.
not paying for all them people to go drink my alcohol
Right.
and all my food. No, no.
Right.
You do what you can.
Yes,
That's
You
right.
do what you can. You have to be smart
But
about it.
that's when you hire the best photographer to save all your money for the photographer.
Right,
Yes.
that too.
That right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to learn how to balance it out.
That's
you know, between the wedding dress and the cake and
Right.
the caterers or
Because
the venue.
a dress can cost up to $3,000.
Mhm.
A cake, if you get a big cake, probably 5, 6, maybe more,
Yeah.
Gosh.
depending on how big it is.
So the biggest expenses of a wedding is catering too. That's one of the biggest.
Oh,
You're,
yeah.
expenses.
you're
Food.
looking at about
Absolutely.
probably
Alcohol.
$50,000, maybe more for one wedding, and that's just too much to me.
Yeah.
I could put
People
a down
charge
payment on a
this.
house,
Yes.
not a car, because I'm not putting that kind of money on a car. But
Right.
you know, all that money
Get
you
my
could
Lambo.
save.
Right. Exactly.
That
Right.
with
Never
50
buy a new
grand,
car.
I would like a little Hot Wheels Lambo too.
Yeah.
Hot pink.
Hot Wheels.
That's right.
Easily done.
Oh,
15
yeah.
bucks, here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Datha in her Lamborghini. I can see it already.
Oh, yeah. I actually got one for Christmas this year.
You got what for Christmas?
A
A
Lambo.
Lambo.
What? Okay, my son asked
But like a
Santa.
toy Lambo.
No, yeah.
Right.
See, my son
Right.
wrote Santa a letter, and he says, "Santa, please get my mom a Lamborghini," because he calls them Lamborghinis.
Lamborghini.
So
How old is
he's 9. He just made 9 in February. So Santa brought me a yellow. I'm sorry, it's a green one because he likes the green Transformer dude. That's a Corvette. But he got me a green Lamborghini. It's sitting
That's
on my
awesome.
windowsill.
I like that name better, actually.
I like it too.
That is awesome. I love it. That is cool. It's always something to look forward to things to come. Possibly, you never know.
Oh, if I ever got one of those.
Yeah. So So the big expenses will be food. The dresses are the big expenses. Photography should be one of your biggest expenses.
Absolutely.
Alcohol probably is one of your biggest expenses.
Alcohol.
Everybody's going to want to drink.
Right.
Then you got the DJ.
Depends.
I don't know.
You-
Around
you
here.
could be like a very Christian,
Yeah.
Could
very
be.
wholesome
You could be, but even
Okay.
if you do wine, it's still going to cost. The good stuff.
grape
Right.
soda.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
yeah.
That's the alternative.
Grape soda.
Yep.
Well, you get to hit cans of Crush over there. I'm sorry, y'all. We had a budget.
Not a problem at
It
all. No,
happens.
you are not the only one for sure.
Pretend there's alcohol
Yeah.
in it.
You are
It
the
works the same.
spokesperson.
Just pour it out into one of those nice little
That's
plastic.
right. Nobody will ever know. It's called
like wine club.
placebo.
Yeah. you just-
Put a cherry in it. Couple of wine, little olives. Look, stick olive in your crush. You'll never know.
It's done all the time.
We'll call it a dirty crush.
That's, that's funny. So the weddings, you spend a lot of money on your photographer. A good photographer feed your guests well, just like a movie set. You got to feed these people. You got to make them happy.
Pastelaya, key to
Hey,
success.
this is South Louisiana.
That's right.
That's right.
No crawfish. They're too expensive.
Yep.
Plus, you don't want to get that on your white dress.
Right. True.
You gotta be careful with
No.
that.
Hey, look,
Yeah.
people, they have the trash to dress thing. Is that still going on now?
Is that the ones that get divorced?
No.
Oh.
Well,
Tell them what trash to dress is.
isn't that where you get divorced?
I think it's where you get divorced and you totally
Yeah,
like,
you-
because the one girl
Okay.
set a bomb off in like what, Texas or something. It was so loud the whole town heard it.
Jeez.
She blew her dress to pieces.
It's kind of like those people that get divorced and the husband cuts everything in half.
See, that's where you could come in
Wow.
too, where you got another photography
Yeah,
shoot.
that'll be interesting.
Right.
It's called the divorce shoot.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it.
Yep. Somebody
They-
contacted him.
As a College Humor did something where they did like a little skit with the divorce, and the photographer's taking a picture of the divorce. Oh, you gotta
Sign
look
the
that
paper.
up.
Somebody
Stick the paper in the
contacted
shredder.
Somebody
Shot
contacted
it.
Tim locally about some revenge pictures for a divorce. I don't know if you ever followed up on that or not. I don't know what that was all about, but that was
That's
kinda
interesting.
Set a trend.
fun. So if you're watching this and you contacted Tim, you know who you are. Get back with Tim. He can help you out with that.
Yeah,
locally,
definitely.
Let us know how the
Be
revenge is
different.
to be set.
Now, when I was looking at the trash address videos on YouTube, I didn't associate some of them with divorce. I thought some of them were right after they got married. They went skiing like on Falls River
Oh,
in
you
the
don't wanna
tuxedos.
trash your good dress.
Why not? You're only gonna wear it once.
I know,
Right.
but a lot of people keep that as a keepsake in case their daughters
But see,
wanna
that's just
wear
the
it.
antithesis of the status quo. They want to go opposite of what most people
That's
do.
true. We're getting off of tradition lately.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so
We're doing the
so-
black dresses now too.
That's
What?
right.
Black
Wedding-
dresses?
Black
Well-
dresses for the weddings.
Really?
hmm
I don't know. To me, white
Wow.
gets dirty too fast. I probably would be one of those black dress kind of
Beige.
Right.
girls. No beige.
You're not a virgin.
Oh,
Beige.
I was gonna
you
go
know,
there.
and it's like, why? Why? I mean, come
Right. I was
on.
gonna
You
go
got
there.
to test the waters before you swim. You don't want to drown. You
That-
do not want to drown.
That's
What
right.
if you? What
That's
if
right.
you get married to this cat and he is no good?
Right. Isn't it funny that the bride wears white, but the
The groom
Groom
wears
wears
black.
black.
That says a lot about
Right.
men.
most of the time, sometimes they wear funny colors like white or lavender or something, but that's kind of your eccentric weddings.
I think it's good that the traditions are kind of breaking on that. Though.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
White's
me
just
too.
not. It's not a good color for some people.
Because
like me.
white, I hate to say it, but white is supposed to represent purity in the marriage and everything. But 95% of people going to marriages, they're not virgins, like you said.
Right.
So I mean,
That
it's
and
just, that's
nobody
just the way it is.
cares.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
They
Right.
do white because white just looks good on an outfit.
Right.
You know, it's tradition.
It's pretty.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
It is.
Right. Yep, it is. So Timothy just said that we are open for phone calls right now if anybody's listening and you want to chime in on our conversation. We're talking about all kind of things photography related. Call in our 24-hour hotline, which is 225-713-5099. And I think Timothy's going to put it on our chat at the side over here. You can look at the phone number. So put that phone number on the chat too, Tim. If you want to call in and talk to Jeff Alvarez, our special guest photographer, and Datha Buriege, my co-host, and me, David K. Gyro, we're glad to have you in on our conversation. So yeah, so that being said, so what's the take-all moral of the story from this article?
At the end of the day, do your research. Mm-hmm. Learn who you're about to hire, to see what they've done. Reach out or look at their reviews. Reach out to people that they've worked with. Get to know who you're working with. And same thing with models. Get to know your photographers.
Yes.
Look at the work they've done. Contact other models that they've worked with. You want to know who you're working with.
Yes.
Because I've heard of photographers who scam models. Don't give them the shots that they promise, especially with TFPs.
Or take them and publish them.
Or take them and publish specific photos that you don't want other people to see.
Always sign paperwork on
Absolutely.
that. Always.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Don't want to disclose until you give the permission for it to be disclosed.
Yes.
Yeah, guilty of that. I don't do a lot I do work. Maybe I should, and cover myself as well as a model. But I've established a rapport with my models, and I usually, it's never alone. I'll have either my girlfriend there or a friend of mine there to witness and to make sure that everything's kosher.
That's pretty cool.
That's very, very good.
Yeah.
And whenever your reputation is good, it spreads like wildfire. And of course, I always say if you do one wrong thing, it spreads 10 times worse. But but the thing is, your reputation precedes you, and word of mouth gets around. This guy, he's legitimate. His work is great. He's a great guy to work around with, and so that's it. So that gets out there too. So that's great. So so let's talk about some different. First of all, Timmy, if you can pull up a few pictures on the Dropbox. Let's just take a look at some of these pictures right here, and I want to discuss kind of some behind-the-scenes stories of some of these pictures that you're taking here.
Okay. I do accept constructive criticism. If y'all want to call and criticize my work or tell me what I could have done better, absolutely
let's get a shot of your beautiful girlfriend down here, and let's give her some props. Image number 781 right there, Tim. If she doesn't mind. Hope she doesn't mind.
No, absolutely.
All right,
she kind of looks like Riley.
A little bit.
Oh, that's crazy.
A little bit, yeah. Wow. Where was this picture taken at right here?
This was taken on 3rd Street in downtown Baton Rouge.
Beautiful place to take pictures.
I love downtown Baton Rouge.
I'll tell you why. And it's the go-to for a lot of photographers.
It is.
It's so diverse. You have your urban areas.
Right.
You have your little alleys. If you do that kind of grunge look. You have the Capitol, the state Capitol. You see a lot of photographers out there all the time, especially on the weekends. They'll take pictures because you have the trees and the flowers, especially in the springtime.
Right.
Yes.
Prom coming up, people want those trees, but they also want to switch over to, the cityscape, or you have your bridge right next to the downtown Baton Rouge, so you could get some nice, pretty bridge shots as well. So it's so diverse. That's why a lot of people love downtown.
There was a church I think it's on North Street, I did a photo shoot on. I did some of my best work on that church.
Yeah.
The steps is so pretty. It's just so much history in it.
Is it not St. Thomas? What is it? Is it a Catholic? Big Catholic
It
church
is,
out
yeah.
there?
It was so pretty. And a parking garage because it was storming one day. And we were going to go do a photo shoot, and he's like, it's storming out. It's like come from nowhere.
You got to do what you got to do.
Went to a parking garage, did some pretty good stuff in there.
Yes, indeed. Plan B.
That's right. It's
B.
amazing how you can just come up with something like that. I'm like, try it and see what happens. Because I'm one of those people. It's like, just try it. You'll never know.
It
might be the best photo shoot we ever had.
Yeah,
and they
absolutely.
actually did come out good.
Yeah, that's the fun part about it. Just going exploring the unknown, whatever happens. You try to plan your day, but hey, just let it unfold.
Right.
And whatever happens, happens. That's great.
Some of the best stuff is the unpredictable stuff.
That's exactly right. Okay, Tim, go back to your thumbnails. Let's see what some other stuff we got from the amazing photographer Jeff Alvarez.
Amazing.
Or Jeffrey Alvarez.
Yo, blowing up my head here.
Ain't gonna be able to fit out the door.
Right.
Dave.
I'll be stuck.
We got to take them kind of as we go down here. Let me see. Anything you want to talk about in particular that you enjoy doing or have a story behind?
Let's see here. Well, that was my recent Dirty 30 shoot with my cousin.
I
Go back up.
love the black dress one.
Yeah.
Go back up.
So
Tim,
this is
That's
a new
something
trend.
like I would like to do.
Yeah, they have a lot of people doing this right now, turning 30 years old, and they want to celebrate it. They do it kind of like the kids do. You even see smash cakes, with 30-year-olds,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they'll have the smash cake, and they'll also be drinking a bottle of wine.
Cool.
It's like
That
the
is
biggest
cool.
trend now. It's to show
Wow.
people, hey, look, I'm not old. 30 is not old anymore. You know,
Right.
back in your day, your parents had their house and everything was set up. Now the economy was different,
Right.
It was a different time. Now people want to show, hey, I'm still youthful.
Right.
So I did this. This was my very first Dirty 30,
Wow, that's awesome.
and I think it came out really good.
Yes.
I like
Cute.
that.
I love that dress too. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Where's that at? Downtown?
Downtown, yeah, the
Yep.
state capitol.
Yep, you can tell.
So I got to
love
ask,
it.
those high heels, were they digging into the ground?
They
giving you any
were.
problems?
They were.
Oh, the
Now that
things
was
you
that
have
was
to
concrete, but
learn.
yeah, on the grass it's pretty tough. And eventually
is.
you come into your issues with either weather or
Right.
the climate or whatever ground, and you have to kind of overcome that and figure out how you're going to adapt it.
Right.
I did when we did one. Highland has this. What's it called? Where they do the astronomy thing?
Yeah,
on Highland?
observatory.
Yeah, that's it. It was wet, so I did all my shoot barefoot.
Yeah,
It come out
right.
so cute
Yes.
though.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, that's great. That is awesome.
And then they had just cut the grass. I had grass all over my feet.
That's
But
great.
hey,
Anyway, I guess
it
That's
just added
right.
to
No,
it.
it gave it a real nature
Right.
feel to the shoot. I bet.
Right.
yes.
But yeah, hills and wet grass, man. That's you got to learn balance.
Yeah.
That is the key.
Yeah.
Right,
Oh,
right.
it's
Or you fall.
I was gonna say if you follow this plan C
And
right
then,
there.
yeah, well, you could always take a shot all the way down.
I can't tell
to
you
get
how
into
many
end.
models that I've met that are just starting out, and they're like, "Man, this is so hard." I'm like,
You have to
You wanted to
learn.
model. It's not as easy as you think.
It isn't.
You know, it's tough.
Right.
That's the truth.
It's hard work. You know,
It is.
especially if it's cold and you're in a bikini.
That's right. You have
You
to
know,
learn.
you just gonna have to pretend you're not cold.
Adjust.
That's
Yep.
it. That's the way it goes. Scroll back up again, Tim, because we're going a little fast. I want to make sure we didn't miss anything. Keep on scrolling back up. Keep on going. Keep on going. Okay, yeah. So I want to talk about this beautiful girl in this pink dress right here. What was this all about?
So that was a shoot for a quinceañera. I do quinceañeras also.
And what is that for the people that don't know? What is
That's
that?
like a sweet 16. Hispanics celebrate the 15. 15 is your coming of age
Coming
as a
of
woman.
age.
15.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, yeah, she's beautiful.
So yeah, very pretty girl. The same thing downtown at the state capitol. Like I said, it's a very popular place. But she did really good, and it's during springtime, you see all the flowers, and
Who threw the azaleas? I love it.
her mom and her
That
family were
is
there.
Yeah.
Genius.
So they took it, and they were like, "Okay, well, let's throw this up and see how it looks in the picture." Yeah, let's do it. And
That-
sometimes
that
you just
came
gotta go
out
with
good.
it, and it
Yes.
came out really cool. It looks like the wind's blowing them off the
It does.
off the limbs.
Genius
Good
mom.
catch on that. Good
I
catch.
love that. I love that.
Oh, look here. That's beautiful. Wow.
Look how cute.
Wow.
Shy.
I want to stop right here and discuss this because there's so many different elements in this picture we can discuss.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of people look at pictures and they don't even realize it's pleasing to them, and their brain subconsciously says this is a beautiful picture, but they don't really know why.
Right.
But
Right.
when you pick apart a picture and you find out why your brain says it's a nice picture. Number one, let's talk about your composition right here. How you have her set in the picture, as opposed you got vertical and
She's-
horizontal things going
Right.
on.
Right,
She's
right, right.
perfectly centered too. between
Not,
the
not quite,
trees.
not quite perfectly centered on here a little bit. Talk about the vertical and horizontal composition in this picture.
Well, you when you look at a photo, you want the person who's looking at the photo to follow a specific path to your main subject. Typically, when I shoot, I try not to put the subject in the dead center. You want people to look at the entire photo and kind of lead up to that point. So I like to set them off a little bit. That way, it gives you a point of reference, right? It's not simple,
Right.
with the subject dead center.
Yeah. So each
Mm-hmm.
photo tells a story.
yes.
Now, with her being dead off-centered, it's a little bit off to the side. You also see her centered of the trees.
Centered of the trees. Yeah, that's what I was talking
So
about.
getting
Perfectly in
it's
center.
those angles
Right.
that you have, and I kind of trained myself to do it. I don't even think about it now. It
Right.
just kind of
Right.
snaps. Like you're like, okay, well, I like this composition. I want her in the center of the trees,
Right.
but I don't want her center frame.
Right. Well, yeah, it kind of gives it a depth.
So it's like to me, it's like the tree lines are like pointing, "Hey, here she is," like this. You know,
Right.
It's like that's really cool. So she got the classic hands on the hip right here, which is really cool.
Very
Typical girl.
typical
it,
girl.
right?
That's right.
And I'll tell them, like, especially when they don't know what they're doing, they're like, oh, well, I don't know where to put my hands. We'll just put them here.
Naturally, girlfriends.
Right.
Hands on the hip.
Exactly. Yep.
Natural.
Exactly.
Look at
Oh,
her.
here we go.
Too
so
cute.
was this the same day of shooting right here?
Same day.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's her niece. And she was going to be part of the party. Well, typically they have a party. But, a lot of my packages have, okay, you can have about 4 family members in a photo. So they brought the niece also because they wanted some pictures of the niece as well.
She did good.
Yeah,
A little natural.
very.
Very good. So
Very
her being a
natural.
child, was she pretty good to control and to pose?
Look at her.
She has her moments.
Yeah,
They have
as
to
all
be fed,
girls.
they have to be rested,
Right.
and they have to be in a mood. If it's
Right.
super hot, you know they're going to be moody.
They
Yeah,
melt
you know
down. Children are naturally meltdowners.
They're so hard.
Wow.
Oh.
So hard.
She is
You know,
beautiful.
but they have photographers out there who are just so
It's
good
the
with
squeaky
kids.
duck.
You know, I'm a grown man.
I know,
So
Carrie's a
for
squeaky
me,
duck.
I mean, no, the kid looks at the grown man. They're like, I don't want to take a picture. He's scary.
You're right.
You know, but
Right.
you'll have a pretty dainty girl who's very good with kids, and they're like, oh yeah, and they're smiling. So for me,
Yeah.
it's
Look
really
at
hard.
The
Yeah.
duck. Look at the duck.
How silly do I look holding a dog?
Oh,
Just-
look at the duck.
And also they're like hypnotized.
I know.
Oh, I love this. This is gorgeous here. Wow.
That's Port Allen, isn't it?
No, that's state capitol still,
Ah.
right next
Wow.
to.
Oh, I see where it's at.
Yeah, where they have the cannon and the bell in the background.
Yeah.
Isn't there a brick wall around there somewhere?
Yeah,
I did
right
a
to the
photo
left
shoot
side.
by that brick wall.
Cool.
Yeah,
That was actually my first photo
I think
shoot.
a lot of people do
Really?
that brick wall.
Yeah, that
It's
brick wall's
very
awesome.
common. Very
Who
common.
did
Love
your
it.
pictures on that photo shoot?
That
Do you
was
remember?
Fernando Fernandez. He
Okay.
was my agent.
Okay.
No.
No, I don't know.
You
Name
do?
sounds familiar.
You might. He's an agent in Baton
Well,
Rouge.
I just hear names a lot, and you see
You
people.
probably heard that name
Yeah.
before.
You probably have. He's on Highland. Well, he was on Highland.
How long ago was that you took?
That was
these
in
pictures of him?
11.
2011.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or it was 11.
When you first got started.
Yeah.
Good deal. Do you still have those pictures in your portfolio, or they
Oh,
were? Or
they were in my Dropbox. You know what? They're probably on my computer somewhere. I'd have to dig really deep, but I'm
yeah.
pretty sure
I'd be
they're there.
interested to see how they came out. You know?
Oh yeah, I can find
Definitely,
them.
yeah.
Oh,
All
I'll
right.
find them.
Yes, definitely. I want to see them too. All right, scroll back up again. Tim, okay, let's see here.
You
So here's
do
a dirty
Buriege
30.
pictures too?
The what?
The Buriege?
Boudoir.
Boudoir.
pictures? Oh yeah,
Boudoir.
he's
Whoa.
Yes, I do.
French it!
no,
We gotta
he's-
learn this French.
He's an expert in boudoir. He does beautiful.
I've done those before too.
Yeah,
Yes.
I dabble.
Those are fun.
You dabble. You do
I
more than that. All right, scroll down some more, Tim. Let's see what we got here. So let's talk about the girl right here and the tape and everything. Let's show one or two pictures. Let's start off by the headshot first, Tim. Go to 34, 36.
Is
Which
that
is
her
on the-
side?
We're gonna work up to the other stuff.
Right, right. That's what I gotta say. Right. Okay, so this is the trend. The black tape project was a trend that went started several years back. You
Yeah,
remember?
mhm.
The guy from is he from Texas or New York?
I want to say Florida and Miami.
It might be Miami, right? He started.
Yeah.
He started the whole black tape project. That became a whole sensation
Right,
movement.
yeah.
He's touring the whole world, I guess,
Yeah,
with this
yeah.
with this setup, which is
No, that's
amazing.
pretty cool.
Definitely, yeah. Oh, very beautiful work. The man is a genius,
He really is.
and
yeah.
he recently started selling this tape. And the
He
second
sells the
that-
tape.
he sells the tape. You can go up to the blacktapproject.com and you can order tape that he uses.
So what's
How does this stuff work in the humidity? Just asking.
And not good.
Interesting.
I didn't. Yeah, it was
Not
slip
good.
and
It's-
slide.
it's really tough.
Y'all slip and slide.
Yeah, we
Interesting.
were lucky that
We all
it had
instant
just rained,
Playboy.
and so it was a good temperature. You know, right now it's just starting to. The temperature's being weird right now.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah,
but
it's
we got
cold
lucky.
outside.
We had a decent day.
That's great. So so he sells the tape. What's different from his tape rather than with something you would buy in the store?
It
Nothing.
probably don't hurt as bad.
don't
It
know.
comes off.
His tape is super expensive. I'm
bet
not
it
gonna lie.
is.
It's like
Wow.
$30 a roll.
Well, tell him he can add extra tin and make it humidity resistant.
Right. If it was, that'd
We
be a
got to find the
selling point.
science to this.
Yes, that would be a selling point. So so now we know that black tape project started off. It's almost like electrical tape is what it looks like. It's shiny.
That's the way it started. Yeah.
It's shiny.
Yeah, I can see
And
that.
that got kind of boring after a while because it's black. Now we have the pretty colors right here.
Right.
Metallic
Right. That's
colors. And shiny.
light reactive. That's what they call it because it
Light-reactive.
depends on what angle you look at the tape.
Right.
As you can see, as the angle kind of turns sideways, it'll start turning green. But if you look at it straight up, it'll be like an orangey, goldish color.
Interesting.
That's cool.
That is because I thought that it was different color tape on it, but it's not. It's
No.
just the angle of the light. That is interesting. All right, Tim, go to another picture. Let's see.
How long did it take to put all that on her?
That took 2 hours.
Ouch.
And that was 2 hours of me, my girlfriend, and another friend assistant of mine.
Wow.
All of us cumulatively
Tim, go
putting it
to
on her.
3318 right there. 3318. And these are good for Facebook, I guess, and YouTube. I
Oh
guess.
yeah.
These are
They,
good, yeah.
well, I mean, I can't get reported. They've actually reported a photo of mine on Facebook, and
Imagine
it
that.
falls within the guidelines.
But those
'cause-
are classy.
yeah, yeah,
Right, they
I
are.
agree.
They are. That's really pretty. So, how do you get the inspiration for the designs? Because I've never seen two designs that are alike.
Well, that design actually comes from the Blacklight Project, and it's the girl who originally modeled for them with this tape.
Really?
So it's actually very similar. You know, it's one of those things I told you I'm kind of guilty of, and it worked out that way, and I didn't mean to subconsciously. I think
Right.
I just kind of associated it, right? So
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah.
That is,
Where were those taken?
this was taken at in Livingston.
No.
I have a little bit of property out there that I rent, and
The parish of Livingston or the city of Livingston?
both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah.
In the city of Livingston.
In the city
he
of
was in the
Livingston.
LL.
Yeah. So we have a good amount of property, and it's very secluded, so we were able to have privacy for the
Great.
model and
That's
everything.
That's
so.
pretty cool.
So this was pretty much an all-day shoot. How long did this whole shoot take you to do?
I want to say about 4 hours total. Took
Wow.
2
That's not
hours,
bad.
2 hours to do the tape, and then
Yeah.
another 2 hours to do the shoot.
That's not bad.
I was asking a friend of mine about the Black Tape Project and her interest in it. So, or this similar shoot. She told me she did it once or twice before, and Timmy knows what I'm talking about. I can say her on air, but so she said she had a problem with the residual stickiness, and it was a big mess taking everything off. Is that happened
just-
with this tape?
Sweat
I
a
think
little.
no, yeah, I think the humidity had it to where it came off a lot easier.
Right.
So it wasn't
There's
too
gonna
hard.
always be an issue with something.
Right.
If anything, you could always put a little mesh cover over you. It probably wouldn't stick so well to it. Though.
No, she actually had strapless thong underwear
Yeah.
Okay.
for this shoot,
Okay.
and I'll tell you, towards the end of the shoot, those pieces were falling off the underwear. Did
Yeah,
not
it
stick
don't
on
stick.
cloth
I figured that.
very well at
Go
all.
to another one, Tim, with this set right here. Yeah, this is really, really cool. It's very artistic to the core. Let's go to, which one we're going to go to here? Let's just do 3448 right there, and that'll be the last one for this particular set we're going to look at here.
She's the only one you've had do that so far.
So far, this was the first time I ever advertised to try to do it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Who did her hair and makeup?
I wish I could tell you their name.
But she had somebody do it
She
for
had
her,
somebody do it for her.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, 'cause that's
absolutely,
why.
and it worked out really well. I don't know if she told her to use those colors, but they blended in well with
Oh,
the
yeah.
tape because you have that green.
Yeah.
Right. Very interesting.
I like
yeah.
how it looks like. It looks cool on her stomach.
Yeah,
that
it came out really, really neat.
I like it.
I've never done anything like this. I saw it and I was just like, I have to do that.
And that's tape on
Yes.
her bracelets too.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's the
I
same
like
tape.
that.
And she's got the fingernail polish.
Interesting.
We call her finger. That's like teal, turquoise, or whatever.
Yeah, it's like
fingernail
a
polish.
turquoise.
That's awesome. Matches her.
Everything worked out.
That's
I'm
She did
telling
good.
you, it just I don't know. It was meant to be.
Beautiful.
Her makeup just, and I never coordinated with her about the colors or anything like that. I just told her,
Right.
hey, I want to do this. I think you'd be a good fit for it.
That's awesome. Has
And,
anybody else approached you about doing something?
I've
similar
had a
yet?
couple people, yeah. I think you're going to see more of my work like this coming up in the
Okay,
future.
I
Tim,
think you
go back
should
to
get it to
thumbnails.
twist all the way around.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try a different
Yeah.
design. That way I'm not, doing the same thing over and over
Right.
again.
That's great. That's
Right.
beautiful, man. That's great. So I want to go back to this style of photography, like black tape, boudoir, whatever you want to talk to,
Mm-hmm.
however you want to categorize the pictures. So this is when it's extremely important. The model photographer relationship is extremely
Yes.
important. Your trust levels, your communication,
Mm-hmm.
open communication back and forth is extremely important because it could be something the best thing you've ever had, or it could be something the worst thing you've ever had.
It could be a
So,
nightmare.
Right.
Obviously,
You never know
I
what
can
happens.
tell in these
Right.
pictures right here, y'all were clicking, y'all were doing y'all thing, y'all,
Yeah.
y'all would get some
You
stuff
made
done.
them comfortable.
No,
and
well,
that's
not
a
just
good
that.
thing.
I had my girlfriend there, and
Right.
she
Yes.
brought a friend, which we had a common friend that worked around the industry, so she helped out a
Right.
lot. But having those two people there also, and them being female, it makes
Yes.
it a lot more comfortable for the model to be surrounded by that.
Yes.
Right,
And that makes for a
right.
great day of shooting, too.
Absolutely.
You get some great stuff. That's awesome. That's very, very good. Yes, I love it. Okay, so let's see what we got here.
You know where else you can do a good shoot at?
Where?
I think it's La Burge. They got a swimming pool at the top.
Man, see, that's another thing about photographer. Being a photographer, you're very limited to a lot of places, believe it or not. They have places that'll kick you off their property.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
sign up to use it?
You'd have to talk to the owner and go through their management and get permission to do stuff like that. Now, it can happen. A lot of places will let you do it as long as their name isn't in
Oh, yeah.
the photo or,
just
or
a
their
swimming
business.
pool.
Right.
Right. So
Fernando
it's
did
a
one.
swimming pool on the top floor up
Yeah.
there?
Fernando
Okay.
did a shoot up there once.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, good.
Might have to talk to him to get connected.
So what's
If you're
the,
listening, LaBerge,
Yeah.
I want to shoot with
Right.
you.
We're going to tag y'all in here for sure.
Shout out.
So besides the swimming pool on the top floor, is there like a scenic overview that's pretty too, or?
I've never been up there. I just saw the picture of the pool and stuff. And then the rooms are nice too, from what I've, you know. You can
Oh
do,
yeah,
like,
they're very
pictures
pretty.
against the windows
Very pretty.
and stuff.
Actually, used to work there.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Cool.
Really?
I was a surveillance agent.
Ah, okay.
What?
Kind of can't talk about it, but you know, it was very cool. It's definitely a good experience.
Oh,
People there were
yeah.
awesome.
And the stories you have to tell, I'm
Oh
sure.
yeah, they got
Yes,
plenty
but
of stories.
he cannot do that. He cannot disclose.
I
his
can't disclose
information.
that, but they're very cool.
He can tell us, but he have to kill us. So.
That's CIA stuff.
I plead the fifth.
Alexa,
right. Don't get me started on that. So
she can't ever understand me, so I'm not in trouble.
right, those Amazon employees are listening to you. So we were at LaBerge about 2 weeks ago for the entertainment summit that they had with Governor John Bel Edwards and all the people. Netflix was out there, all the people that are shooting in Louisiana right now. And that's my first time going to LaBerge. And
It's nice.
It is very nice. But
Smells
it's way
good
out there.
too.
It does.
It smells so good. I want their air freshener so bad. Y'all got to tell me what
We
it
went in the
is.
conference room and like the lobby out there, but it's kind of set way back in the middle of nowhere. It seems
Yeah.
like.
It
But,
is.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place for sure.
It is.
And they get a lot of big names that come in there and do concerts
yeah.
and stuff. So-
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's nice.
A lot of comedy shows as well. And
Right.
it's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. All right. So speaking of, like you saying, the boudoir and everything, let's go to this picture here. I'm sure she won't mind us. Go to 7622. Down right there. Yes. Check this one out here. Okay.
Love the chandelier and colors.
Miss
Right.
Lola, Naughty Lola
Yeah.
is her name.
Really? Okay.
She was holding that.
Yeah. Yeah, she.
Cool.
I have a lot of models that bring props also. So she brought
cool.
her props.
Yeah.
That goes so good with a color background. Where was this at?
This was taken in at Hayride Scandal. Very cool location. It's a nice little bar in Baton Rouge off of College.
Right. Okay. Hey, right. Scan. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and they're super cool. The management was there. That was super. I mean, everybody was really nice, and they're all about artistic photography being done in their location.
Oh, that's
great.
awesome.
They have it's
Yeah.
very vintage.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. So this sofa right here was this like in the foyer or the wait? Or,
No, that was right there in the right.
Really?
Yeah, people could sit down and drink and
Yeah.
enjoy their drinks. Yeah, everything was there already. That's how you walk into the building. That's exactly what you see.
Bar
Right.
was open or was closed?
Well, at the moment it was closed for the shoot specifically. And again, they're so cool about it. Very nice.
It's a
Right.
good way to get your name out.
Absolutely.
I like that.
All right, Tim, you can go back to your thumbnails and come back on us on camera. So what I wanted to discuss with that, why that picture kind of piqued my interest, is because I guess the thought process that we have of who should be modeling, who should be taking pictures. You know, I mean, what is acceptable versus not acceptable. I think this lady here was a beautiful lady.
Absolutely.
And that's what it is. She's exuding her personality, who she is in her pictures. Her creativity is expressed well by you, of course. Let me ask you this, Jeff. So there are a lot of males and females out there too, but mostly just females who they want to have some beautiful pictures to take of themselves.
Yeah.
They want to look beautiful.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, they can look beautiful, and they are.
Right.
A lot of people have beautiful personalities on the inside, but not everybody is just statuesque model. Who could be on the cover of a magazine.
Not everybody's a Barbie.
Right. So
Well, Barbie needs to go away anyway. Let's face facts.
that's what I'm talking about.
You
Let's get
know?
real.
Yeah.
Let's get real about who we are and everything. So
Yeah.
if you have a little bit extra weight on you, you can actually still take some great pictures.
Absolutely, yes.
Depending on how you pose, how you dress.
Yeah. Yes.
Actually, some
You
of
know,
the best pictures are the ones that have
The
a little
biggest
weight in
thing
it.
I want to say is just the confidence.
Right.
Just the confidence. Be
And it builds
Be
the
confident.
confidence.
Absolutely.
Any kind of photo shoot like that, you see yourself in
Right.
a different way, and it does. It builds confidence.
She, Miss Lola, is very confident in her skin, and it shows. And she has a great following now because of it. Because
Wow.
she's herself.
Right.
She doesn't want to be fake. She wants to be her, and that's the most important thing, is to be confident with who you are.
Right.
And that's what makes a pretty picture, because you see that confidence exuding
Right.
through the
Right.
photo.
Right. You sure do.
Unfortunately, this day and age, that children grow up and they're getting a little more less into that, but people are so fixated on perfection.
Yeah.
And it's not fair because nobody's perfect.
You see these 9-year-old
Yes.
little girls saying, "I'm fat."
Yeah, I know.
No, you're not fat. You're
And-
beautiful
Yes.
just how you are.
Exactly. And unfortunately, in the world we live in, that's the way
Yes.
people think now.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that winds up screwing these little girls up because,
It does.
especially in Hollywood and the television entertainment industry, they have to fit this mold. I mean, they wind up being, like I said, anorexic and just,
I always had issues with that growing up.
Yeah.
yeah.
I hated the way I looked.
But I'm glad that
And you
it's
probably
starting
look
to
good.
change. I think we're making progress when it comes to being diverse, especially in the modeling industry.
Well, it has to be,
Yeah,
because at some point
absolutely.
you have to realize they're not real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Kim Kardashian, there ain't a thing on that girl that's real.
Yeah,
Kylie
exactly.
Jenner, I hate to say this, but she changed her entire facial features to look like somebody she's not.
Yeah.
When she was perfectly fine before she did her lips,
Right.
she did
Now,
her hair.
on the opposite side of that spectrum, I also believe that you should do what makes you happy.
You should also
So
do
if
what
you
makes
want
you
to, if you
happy.
want to, go through a couple surgeries, or if you want to look a certain way, that's your
Yeah.
prerogative. That's what you want.
There's
So
nothing wrong
definitely,
with
yeah,
it.
absolutely. Be who
Right.
you want to be. Don't
Right.
let anybody stop you from being that.
Just remember, everybody's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. But like you said too, some people need a little bit of help to get to where they
You
need to
do. I mean,
be. But
I can't
you
say
can't
I-
overdo it though. You can overdo
No.
it.
Yeah, when you start
When
getting the
you-
cheek implants and one goes up and the other goes down, that's when
Right.
you got to stop and say, you know what?
And that's when you need to get a new surgery.
I think
Right. Okay. Right.
I think it's time to make a
Right,
change.
exactly. And then and then the I hate to say the butt implants that people are getting. It's just
Yeah,
so fake looking.
until you do a squat and
You
it
can-
pops. No. And
Right,
then you go in
right.
ICU. This has actually happened. She was doing squats and one cheek bust. ICU.
Wow.
Forget it. I'm
Wow. See,
sorry.
that could be life threatening.
You have to
Yeah.
be, you have to absolutely be careful.
No.
Very
Yes.
careful.
What happens if
And I
you're
wanna
walking
say,
and slip and fall on
what
your
do they
rear
do?
end?
They don't do these butt implants here in the States.
They're not FDA
They
approved,
have to
I
go.
don't think.
No, they have to go outside of country, I
didn't
think,
know
to
that.
get that done.
Probably
Yeah,
like
you
Mexico
can't-
or other places
Well, you
like
know
that.
what they
Possibly.
do? They're putting silicone implants in your rear end. Why?
Right. It's
You
just,
know,
it's
just do
terrible.
real
It's-
squats.
Well,
Right.
I've
Yeah,
actually
do the
seen where
work.
they take fat from other places
I
and
agree
then
with
they'll
that.
inject that.
I agree
in the
with
butt.
that. That's
You're
different.
gonna have a
though.
little bit of flappy
Yeah.
butt.
Yeah, but then you got
Right.
it from somewhere but then you can work with something.
Yeah.
But to
Well, I
put
heard
silicone-
if you transfer fat from another piece of the body and inject it into a different side, it actually changes. The fat isn't the same type
Really?
of fat.
Interesting.
I want to say it solidifies a little bit. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know the science behind it, but
People,
if y'all know, definitely send a comment and let
Yeah,
us know.
definitely,
if you
definitely.
want good booties, do the squats.
Thank you. Do the work.
Do not do what they do. Do the squats, because ICU.
Do what you want.
Just because I see you,
Do
don't
what
mean
you
you
want.
need to go to ICU.
Yes.
Do
Thank
what you
you.
want.
Good. And
You
so,
can do what you want, but just don't do no squats.
Right. And if you're the person doing it, so a gym membership is a lot cheaper than a plastic surgeon.
I don't have that discipline. That's why I got the extra jelly rolls.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you're doing something right. You look pretty good. So, but that's the main
I'm
thing.
just
Is like,
sucking in.
and like at the end of the spectrum too is the women and men too who don't take care of themselves. And I can't say that you are attractive because you just don't take care of yourself.
It also depends
So-
on how you present yourself.
Yeah, presentation is key.
Presentation is key.
Yes,
Yep.
right. And another thing, real quick, we'll move on. Is like what is the purpose that people come to you and want to have beautiful pictures taken just because they want to feel good about themselves? They want to give a present to their boyfriend and their husband. They just want to showcase their body while they're younger because they know they're getting older. They can look like this forever. you
Yeah,
know, so
definitely. I've had so
stop
many
time.
reasons. I've had so many reasons why people come in and they're like, I want to preserve myself forever in an image this way, or I want to give this as a present to my significant other. Valentine's Day comes around and
Until
people
you
want
lose
to take.
it in the divorce.
right.
I didn't lose it.
But you
I
can still,
gained it.
you still got the pictures. You look great.
I kept
know?
it.
Oh.
Exactly.
I kept it.
Yes.
It's mine.
It's definitely the new boyfriend's picture
That's
now.
just weird. Why would you leave that with your ex? Ladies, don't leave that
No,
with your
it's
ex.
gonna wind up on the internet. You don't want that.
No.
Sometimes you don't have a choice. Everything's digital now.
How true this is.
Yeah, I'm sure
Except
they have a
some
copy
don't know how to
digitally
work
somewhere.
cameras.
Once it's out there, it's gone forever. You're right. That is the truth.
That's true.
All right, Tim, let's scroll down a little bit more. Keep on going. Let's see here what we got here. All of these are just great and worth talking to. I like the well, there's Timmy right there. He did that while you came over a while back.
Circle.
Right.
Don't blow it up. Just circle it.
Scroll down to these pictures of Carolyn down here. These came out really, really good.
Those are cool with the blue. Isn't there an old time picture that they do that? It's like a drawing or something.
Which ones?
Kind of like that.
Which
Yeah,
one?
those.
This one here?
Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, those it's almost like a pin-up retro type.
I like that.
Yeah.
So that was actually taken at a studio space that any photographer can rent.
Oh.
If you get in contact with Shamika Matthews,
Oh,
known as
yeah.
Mika Matthews online, They have a Creative Gotham is what the business is called.
Awesome.
You can, contact them and rent your studio space if you don't have a studio of your own.
Yes.
So they had a big gathering. They had a grand opening, and they had a lot of photographers and models come in just to check out the place and just take pictures. And they had some games. This was one of the challenges, was to take creative photos with a specific props that they give you.
Yep.
So that was just the props that we just so happened to have, and that was our model in our group. So
I
and
like
it came out really cool.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, that's on Greenwell Springs Road, or where's this place at?
That's
Greenwell
off of
Springs?
Greenwell. I want to say it's off of Greenwell.
That's what I heard.
Okay,
I
I
don't
gotta
have the
know.
exact location, but
Yeah,
Did
you
she
need to check it
miss
out.
the lemon?
no, she caught it.
She caught it.
She caught the lemon.
Go girl.
It wasn't even photoshopped in. That was
No,
a
no,
real
that was a
lemon.
real lemon.
That's pretty cool.
That is great. So is she a model too, or is she?
She does modeling.
Is she okay.
Her name's Aaliyah.
Awesome, yeah.
Don't quite remember her last name right now, but that was the first time we ever met, and she did really good. You could tell she knows what she's doing.
That's cool. Oh, I love the camera.
Again, one of the props.
That's cool. I like
Oh
that.
yeah, that's great. That is really cool.
That's kind of like the 48-hour thing. If you think about it.
What's that?
Well, they got props. They got certain stuff they have to use for
Right.
the photography.
Right.
When you have to do the 48-hour film project,
Yep,
you got
that's true.
certain stuff you have to use.
Yeah, the line
like
that you have
that.
to use. Yes, that's great.
It's pretty cool.
All right, let's do that one there, Kim.
Angel wings.
There you go.
That's cool. I like that. I always want to do a photo shoot with the wings. In fact, I had purchased some for Fernando, but we never got to do
It's
it.
really popular.
I love them. I had black wings.
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's great.
Oh, maybe we'll talk.
There you go. Yes. Was that like a Polaroid camera, like a
Yeah,
like
it was.
35
I want to say it was
millimeter,
like a Nikon, like really old school Nikon, where you had the big old rolls that you put in there.
It
Right.
blew up whenever you took the picture.
No, it just. I don't even think it worked. It was just there.
That's a good picture.
I think that was the first time she's ever modeled.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, look at those eyelashes.
yeah, very pretty. Well, they had makeup artists there too.
Oh, see, I would
Makeup
love
artists.
to do.
I have
something
met
like
a lot
that.
of makeup artists. Cece, you know who you are. Cece is an amazing
CC,
makeup
yeah.
artist. I want to say she's out of Lafayette.
Laffy shout out.
Now she didn't do that piece, but she's worked with me in the past.
That's pretty
Right.
good.
And also, let's see. Oh yeah, that was, when I was over here.
Hey.
That was before I shaved
Hey.
my arms.
How you doing?
Too much hair on my arms.
You work it, work it.
Dave.
I had to get that in while you were here. Real
Yeah,
quick.
definitely.
Go back to the other one of Carolyn up there, Tim.
Hi,
Oh no,
Dave.
golly! I
Look at
shaved
that
like a
face.
week.
Look at those eyebrows.
Such demeanor.
Yeah.
Go back to Carolyn. Keep on going up, going up. Yeah, do number 94 and
Hold
39.
on. Was a grocery store prop?
No, well, we had a scavenger hunt.
Ooh.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, let's talk about that next. Yeah.
So Carolyn Abity,
This was shot here at our studios, right?
at your studio, absolutely. Carolyn's amazing model. Yeah, I mean, she's one of those models you don't really need a lot of direction to. Those are the best to work with.
Right. That's
You
great.
just tell her, hey, I need you to pose this way, and go.
Yeah, I
right?
like
She'll
doing
take
that too.
everything.
Yep. She's a beautiful girl to look at, of course, but to get to know her is another thing. She's on a whole nother level. I love her thinking.
Super beautiful person.
Yes.
Beautiful
She's
personality.
Very intelligent.
Very intelligent.
Yep, she really is. So that's beautiful there. So we shot that over here at the studio. And tell us real quick about your setup, because a lot of people say, like, what kind of lighting did he use for this picture? What backdrop?
At the time, I used a Godox 362 for the lighting. Backdrop was a simple rollout piece of paper from Hobby Lobby.
Hobby Lobby.
Yeah, and the backdrop stand was made out of PVC pipe.
That's
you
the
know?
best
And
ones.
again, it's one of those things where you do it yourself.
Right.
You get a sense of gratification as well as save a little bit of money
Yes,
Right.
that's
on
great.
the side.
Look at
So
the
instead of
results.
paying a couple $100 for a backdrop, you just build it $20 PVC
Yes.
pipe.
Right.
Pay for itself in one
Absolutely.
shoot. That's great. Here's another
Also,
one.
it's a little bit of editing to go,
Right.
extend the paper out a little bit if she stands
Yeah.
out of it.
Right. Good job. So look, the backdrop looks like it's kind of is that lighting or what's going on with the backdrop?
That's just the light coming off the side. If you see behind her, you see that shadow. So you see it's hitting her in one direction. I only used one light set up for this because I wanted it to be kind of moody. I'm
think
one
it's
of
a
those
good
photographers
effect.
that I like shadows.
Right.
There are a lot of photographers out there that hate shadows, that are like, oh, I need a 3-point setup or 3-light setup, and I have to have it shadowless. And it's cool if that's the specific look that you're going for, but
Right.
my stuff is a little bit more moody.
I like it.
Yes, that's beautiful. All right, give us another one, Tim. So what was you talking about with the props? You were looking at the picture
Oh,
earlier.
the scavenger hunt. He was talking about the grocery store.
Oh yeah, let's see here.
So we almost got kicked out of this
I love
grocery
it.
store.
That's the
for-
fun ones, yeah.
And you got to be different. You got to try something different. But
Well,
we
yeah.
had a scavenger hunt where we had to take photos of specific items. I want to say ours was water. So we took it inside the grocery store, and I thought it was a really neat shot because you don't see stuff like that.
No, I
right?
like it.
The model doesn't have to be so revealing
Right.
to have a good look on her face and a great pose, and the backdrop doesn't always matter.
Right.
You know,
I love it.
That's great. So what's the saying in photography? It's better to ask for
permission. Wait, better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Thank you.
There you
Right.
go.
Remember
Yeah.
that. Remember that. Do your thing. If you see something, go for it.
Yeah.
I
You know,
like
and
it.
sometimes, unfortunately, the case is you have to break a couple rules. You have to bend a couple rules. You have
have
to
to.
go to places where you're not allowed to get great photography and
Right.
artistic shots. You just got to be careful. You know,
Right.
there are a lot of times you can get arrested for breaking into an abandoned warehouse to take a
Right.
picture.
True. Yeah.
I didn't see the no trespassing sign,
Right.
officer. I must have just got there.
Right. Right.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. More
I like
props.
that.
More props.
I like
Yeah.
how it shows the background.
Yeah. Look up Creative, Gotham Creatives. Great location.
I love
I'm just
that.
saying, like,
Right
you know,
there in Baton Rouge. huh?
absolutely
Sorry.
in Baton Rouge, off of Greenwell. Actually, off of Greenwell. I want to say it's closer to Central.
So are they still doing like weekly or monthly get-togethers like this?
They do. They're actually having one today. They had one
Wow.
today that I missed out to be
Okay.
able to do this podcast,
Right.
but you know.
Yeah. Well, we will definitely advertise that for them for sure. You know, that sounds great.
I like that.
Yeah, very good collaboration. You don't get that too much collaborations with models and photographers on a
Yeah,
group basis.
on a group
Right.
basis, and it's so cool to be able to network with other people.
Right.
You
Pick
know,
each other's brains.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. You know, one of those photographers that I really admire now that I'd love to pick his brain is Jesse Butler. I don't know if you've ever seen his work.
Jesse Butler. Okay.
Jesse Butler is
Okay.
an amazing photographer out of Alexandria. I mean, the dude does some phenomenal work.
Wow.
You know,
So
and not
give
only
him
is
a
he an
plug.
amazing photographer, but he's a great person. You know,
Yeah.
and to find, you know, I've met photographers that once they get really, really good, they're just
Yeah.
nose up in the air, and you know they
Right.
get so full of themselves. And even though they're super successful, they're not very beautiful people on the inside.
No.
And Jesse Butler is one of those people that, you know, you'd wish he'd get to, you know, mega stardom level of photography because
Yeah.
he's that good.
Wow.
It's incredible. Yeah. That is amazing. Well, we'll give a plug to Jesse Butler too. If I'm sure he's on Facebook,
Yeah,
all those platforms.
Definitely look him
Great.
up.
Look him up for sure.
it's a Weird Rabbit Studio.
Weird
Weird
Rabbit.
Rabbit.
Weird Rabbit, yeah.
Weird
Rabbit. I like
Weird
that.
Rabbit, look him up.
I love it. Okay, so I have I've done some weddings and stuff for some black people, African American people, and so I see you have a black couple right here.
Absolutely.
There are some challenges that I find that go with taking pictures of black or dark skinned people.
Yeah. You have your you know, overexposed or underexposed. The skin it's a little difficult, so you have to have the right lighting.
That's pretty. Where's that at?
That is in Puerto Rico.
What?
Yeah.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
I was hired. They hired me. Beautiful couple. He's a Navy. He's in the Navy. She's a school teacher, and they're very good friends of ours. Me and my girlfriends, and they hired me to take pictures of their wedding in
destination
San
wedding.
Juan, Puerto Rico. It was a
Puerto
destination.
Rico.
Yeah,
Make it
beautiful.
roll.
Puerto Rico. Very beautiful, and I loved it. I mean,
Oh, I love that.
and then sometimes you gotta go cheesy with it.
No, it's not.
But they loved it and I loved it. I thought it was really cool.
That is.
A lot of it's photoshopped, but that is an actual background. You see that little castle looking thing on the side. That's actually
Oh,
there.
I like that.
But I had to work with the lighting and get the sky looking right, and
Wow.
that's like a couple hours worth of work.
Oh, yeah.
To make it look this
Yeah.
way.
Beautiful.
That's
love
pretty.
it. Love it. Oh, here we go.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Loving the sandals, girl. Those are
Right?
cute.
And the little toe ring.
Well, that you were talking about the wedding dress. That is, I want to say, her mother's wedding dress.
See, I told you.
She had it tailored and fixed up, and
yeah.
it looked very
Tradition.
beautiful.
It does. It's very
beautiful,
pretty.
Beautiful. There we go.
Aw.
She's again. That is great.
Cute.
So yeah, man, I'm one of those photographers that would love to travel.
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
love to travel, do
There's
destination
so,
weightings.
Have you ever been on Google Earth?
Well,
The
yeah.
places you can go. Wow. If I could ever use actual flyer miles on how much I
Yeah.
travel on Google Earth, I would be flying for free for the rest of my life. I am totally hot on Italy right now, though.
Yeah, Rome.
Oh,
I would love to go
Rome.
to Rome. They have some beautiful, beautiful
Oh yeah.
beaches. and-
It's just so
yeah.
pretty out
You have
there.
to spend a
Absolutely.
month out there
Love
to get
it.
everything.
Yeah, and that's another great thing about being a photographer. If you're very successful at it, you get to travel.
Right.
You get to see other places on the planet that you wouldn't normally think about seeing.
Yes.
But it's tough to get to that level.
Right. It is, yeah. Unless you got friends like you have, every now and then it comes along.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Okay. So,
I'm great at, that was in Puerto Rico also. That's my girlfriend.
oh, okay, yeah. Wow. So y'all
But that
just,
goes with modeling too, you know. I mean, it takes work to get
Oh
anywhere.
yeah, absolutely. You have to put in the legwork.
Right.
You have to network.
Right.
You have to get to know people because it's not what you know all the time. It's who you know.
Exactly.
true.
It's almost like that with anything these
Right.
days.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to know people, but you have to put yourself out there.
You do.
You have to make the effort to get to know people.
Right.
And
Yes.
you know, if you're an introvert, that's very, very difficult
Right.
to do.
Yes.
To put yourself out there. But in order to be successful or to be recognized for what you do, you got to put in the legwork.
Right. Right.
Yep, and the times change with as technology evolves and gets better and better, and you know a lot of print stuff is going out of style and everything's like online. Because it used to be like, well, I will be a model and be in the print magazines, be in the magazines. Well, you don't really see physical copies of magazines too
Right.
much. Just everything's online.
Right.
And then the challenge goes like, how can I get paid to do online advertising and modeling? That's the challenge.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So times change. Here she is again.
She's soaking up the
Yeah.
sun.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all just made
That
the
was,
best of it.
that was
dress.
natural light. No flashes involved.
Not
And-
even the little disc thing?
No.
Cool.
No, that's all natural light. Very difficult shot because it was a very harsh day. The sun was hitting her hard, so it's hard to get that right balance of aperture and shutter speed.
Did you use a reflector or anything?
Nope.
That's the
Really?
disc
No.
thing I was talking about there, Dave.
Yes, right. We're gonna
I
get it.
didn't know what it was called.
I wrote it
It's
down
a
right
disc
here.
thing.
Disc.
Yeah.
Search
He
that on
wrote it
Amazon.
down.
Disc thing. Well, great. Okay, let's see a few more pictures, Tim. And hats off to Tim, our producer back here, making things happen behind the
Is
scenes.
that a tornado?
No.
That
no,
totally
that's just the
could be.
clouds.
Beautiful.
You know what? That would be a good background.
Just take a picture of a beautiful couple in front of a tornado.
Yes! Their whole lives are being
I don't know.
blown.
I might have to get some insurance involved with that.
Right,
Not an
right.
actual tornado.
Something hits you in the head.
Photoshop it in.
Famous last pictures.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, ever seen that picture of the guy that was mowing his grass? That's so me. He's mowing his grass in the middle of a tornado. And he's
Yeah.
like in the background. He's like, screw it. I'm doing this
I
anyway.
didn't see
It's
that.
gotta get
got
done.
to get cut.
Oh my gosh.
That's me.
I have not seen
When
that.
the wife keeps getting at you to cut the grass.
Right. That's what you need to do, though. Photoshop one in the background. I'll totally be the one blown away.
Okay. Hello.
All right. So what do we have here, Tim?
That's cute.
Here we go. Okay.
Is that another quinceañera?
Yeah, it was another quinceañera. Beautiful lighting. It just happened to work. A lot of your shots, I want to say a lot of photographer shots is skill, but some of it's just perfect timing. Just
Yep.
getting lucky,
Those
getting
once
that
in a
shot.
lifetime.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. See the thumbnails again, Tim? We're almost kind of toward the end here.
She's got that, yeah, I'm me look. That's right. You see it.
All right.
That's
here.
cool. Love the tree.
Yeah. That's great.
Where's that?
Very sweet couple. This was what's that beach? They have that little beach right here off of like close to Ponchatoula.
Thunderbird?
No.
That's closed probably by
Hollywood?
now.
I don't know. No beaches around here.
Well, it's not really a beach, but
Only
you could go
beaches.
swim out in the lake.
Where's
Oh.
Thompson Creek is over here, though. That's not it either. I'm trying to remember.
Well, it's a park. I
It's
know
a
it's a
park.
park that you pay
Yeah.
to get in, and that's where they had their wedding. It was a very beautiful tree, so we had to
Cool.
take a picture there.
That is
beautiful.
cool.
All right, a few more, Tim. Keep scrolling down to the bottom. You have a few of the wedding pictures.
I like the
here.
cake picture.
Now these are a lot of early on in my career shots.
Mm-hmm.
So this is when I had a Canon. I want to say that's the Canon 7D.
Look how
Okay.
cute.
Yeah,
That's a good picture.
Thank you.
that sure is love.
Is
That's
that the
a
old State Capitol?
Yeah,
I knew
It's
it.
a very popular spot for brides.
It is.
Great
That's
place
where
to
the
take photos.
Stained glass is at, right?
Yes.
Yes, I
You'll
know.
they
it.
have the stained glasses there also.
I've
Or-
only been once and I can remember it. Oh, I love that. That's cool.
That's pretty. Go back to the staircase picture one more time, Tim. I was fixing to say I've never seen a staircase angle like this before.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to walk around and get your perspectives.
Right.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
I must have walked around a while. She's sitting there like, really?
Right.
When are we taking this?
Is this
Oh,
gonna
I
work?
love that.
Again,
That's
I love
pretty.
my shadows.
Yeah.
I love my shadows. I
Shadows
love
make it.
silhouettes.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Very, very good. But you definitely
That
got
one, yeah, Tim. Ooh,
yeah.
I like that one.
That was actually multiple photos stitched together because I didn't have a wide angle lens. So I had to actually take a couple photos and then later on stitch them all together. So
Dude, that's amazing.
Yes, I love it.
I mean, you can't even see where the seams are. This is incredible, man.
You're really good at the Photoshop.
Thank you.
Yes.
And that's what I started off doing was
Right.
Photoshop.
Right.
So I think it helped a lot.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
So
I
even
like
though my
that.
camera wasn't like 100% the most amazing thing in the world, my Photoshop abilities, I guess, helped me out a lot.
Right.
Yes,
Ooh.
they did. Oh, I
I
love
want
this.
some cake. That's pretty.
Wow.
That there is not a cheap cake.
No.
Right. Yeah, that's beautiful.
This wedding couple, they didn't have a lot of people show up for their wedding. So I ended up being, and I had this is like the second time I ever met this couple. I ended up giving the toast
Oh.
at their wedding, and it was so cool. And afterwards, we just became really, really good friends. The groom called me up all the time. Hey, what you doing?
Oh, that's
You know,
neat.
very cool
Yeah.
people, and that's what I love doing this photography. Is because you meet so many people and
Right.
you get to make friends. You have those bonds with people
Yes.
that you would never have met otherwise.
That's cool. I like
That's true.
that.
That's
Good
true.
story.
Yeah, so were you taking pictures and doing the wedding thing at the same time?
Yeah,
with that one?
I was just like in the background.
I know. I was
So-
about to say. So
Y'all are gonna last forever. I
Click.
don't even know them.
click.
Right. Oh my goodness, that is something. All right, so Jeffrey, before we go any further, Tim, how are we doing on our time right now? Hour 30. Okay, we're gonna wrap up in a second because that's a good show. Hour and 30 already.
Yeah, I know.
Golly.
It went by quick.
It did. All right, so we've got an up-and-coming generation of photographers. They may be 7 or 8 years old, but they could be doing photography in the future.
Oh, they get into it now.
Yeah.
All the selfies everybody's
Yes.
taking. We're pros already.
Yes. Have you heard the statistic that probably 70% of every picture online is from an iPhone?
I'm guilty of
I
it
believe it.
myself.
Right.
I believe it.
I'm a big selfie
It's cool.
person.
I mean, hey,
That's good news, actually.
It
phone
teaches
cameras
you.
are actually getting so advanced now.
They
It's
are.
crazy.
They are.
The stuff that they could do.
Even the new
Yeah.
iPhone 6 has the depth of field shot thing in it. We can
Yeah.
make depth of field.
The
It's
portrait, give it a portrait look.
Yeah,
Yes.
it teaches
Very
you
cool.
a lot, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it teaches you the Photoshop thing, how to change your picture colors in the background.
Yeah, they
you
have so
know?
many cool apps now.
Yeah.
They
You know,
do.
especially for those photographers who are on YouTube. You know, I look up to so many people on YouTube who have taught me so many things. Manny Ortiz is one of them. Francisco Hernandez is another. They have Robert Hall. Those guys are like, you know, super popular right now. But they help out so many people into learning this field. And you know, if it weren't for
Right.
them, I wouldn't be as far as I am now.
Yes,
Right.
that's a really good thing about it is you don't have to go to a film school these days.
Right.
Everything's free online.
Right.
Yeah.
Tutorials everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And just,
What did we do without YouTube
I,
and Google?
we had to go to libraries.
No.
Right. Outdated information.
We had to go to bookstores.
Do they even have libraries still?
They still do.
Books a
That's-
Million,
that's gonna be
Barnes and
bad.
Nobles.
That's going to be bad when that goes away. Because it's coming.
It is.
At some point, somebody's going to say, you know what? Why do we need books? We got it online. Until the
is.
internet crashes and everybody's going to say, why don't we have books? We don't have it online.
Let's hope that don't happen.
Let's hope it don't happen.
I'm
but-
dependent
Well,
on the
when you
internet.
look
I
at the way
know
things
we
are
all
going,
are.
when you look at the way things are going, it's best to buy a backup. So every book that I read on Kindle, I get a hard copy and
Yeah,
save it
you
over
have
here.
to.
Mhm.
Because like you said, if it goes, it's in the cloud. But what
Right.
happens?
Yeah, but why? How do you get it out the deadgum cloud once it gets in? I don't like the cloud. I'm sorry. I just don't.
It's a risk.
My
you're taking.
cloud is always cloudy. It's not cloud nine.
Right.
No.
Right. That's the truth. So yeah, so the up and coming photographers, they're starting out at your kids' age is taking pictures, you know. So they're actually getting their practice while they're young on their phones.
Yep.
So what's some tips that you would offer to up and coming people or who are interested in getting photography? Just like yourself, you got started relatively late in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So some pitfalls to avoid, some things to watch out for.
Well, again, YouTube will teach you everything. You know, just really study up on your skills. Just take that time. Take that time to learn and make mistakes. You have to make mistakes in order to learn.
Yes, that's true. That's very important.
You know, another thing is take your camera everywhere.
Yep.
Take your camera everywhere. Take pictures of,
Practice,
of
practice,
everything.
practice.
You know,
Yep.
people, ducks, animals, lakes, landscapes. Just start taking pictures. You know,
Yes,
you could be
great.
very profitable off of bucket images. You know, just send your pictures out to different websites that use, you know, your stock photos for, you know, other people. you can make some money on the side doing that
Ooh.
just to get started.
Yes.
Need to look into
There
that
you
because
go.
I got like 2,000 I need to do something with.
There you go.
My whole
Golly.
phone memory, 32 gigs.
Wow.
Gone.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you have a little camera too. You have a little Canon camera, don't you?
I
That
do,
you take
yeah.
pictures with too.
I
so.
hadn't used it in a while.
A
but
Rebel?
I do have one.
Rebel.
Right. That name is-
Without a cause. Actually, it has a cause.
It has the
but-
cause to take pictures.
Yeah.
Here's my Rebel with a cause. That's funny. So yeah. So and if it's in you, you got to express your creativity some kind of way, and hopefully it's photography and or videography, like I said, music. And there's just different ways you can go. So let's talk about. We're gonna wrap it up pretty soon. So let's talk about your future. What's in your bucket list of things to do?
That's a big bucket. You sure we have to wrap it up?
Go
soon?
for it. Go for it.
No,
No,
just
go
playing.
for it. Take your
No,
time.
man, just really, I love the fashion industry. You know, I just want to be recognized for my work. I'd love to travel. You know, and you know, a lot of times it's very hard to get out there because a lot of us have day jobs. You know, photography. You have so many other photographers out there. It's like I said, super competitive. So sometimes
Yes.
you have to work with your prices and you gotta eat, but sometimes you're not quite there. So you need a backup
Right.
plan. So I don't know. I guess it'd be my biggest goal is to own my own studio and eventually be able to do this full time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I see it coming. Don't you?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You keep up where
High
you're going now.
potential.
It's coming for sure. Definitely. All right. Well, anything you want to add, Datha? So what's on your bucket list of things to do?
Oh,
The bucket list would be
Well, no,
shorter
she's-
if you told her
She-
what she didn't want to do.
Oh.
True. Right.
She's
Right.
just ready to retire.
Right. But we know you're the co-host of the Dave K Show, right?
Yeah.
So don't leave me there, please.
No, I won't.
So good.
I'm going to retire from wildlife and fisheries in 13, 14. You know what? I've lost count.
There you go.
Somewhere up in there.
Great.
Cool.
Very, very good.
You're gonna
yeah.
pursue modeling after that.
I'm going to pursue it now. I'm going to be old by then.
Well, I mean, they have older models nowadays that are
true.
starting to
Yes, they
blow
do.
up.
I could do
They
it.
have
Yes.
the gray look now.
No.
Like,
Gray
people
look.
actually, young people are dyeing their hair gray.
They are. It's about the
Really?
color of his shirt. It's pretty.
Yeah,
Really?
It
looks
don't
nice.
fit me.
Interesting. Well, you got plenty of time. I promise you. You look good. You got plenty of time.
No, I look like
So-
my mom. My mom looks like she's like
Your mom's hot. huh?
30, 38. Yeah. My mom, she
It's in
doesn't
the
age. Yeah.
Cool.
So you got plenty of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good. Well, Jeff, it was good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Yep.
I think we learned a lot about you, a lot about
Absolutely.
the photography industry. We learned about modeling from Datha. So you have a lot of good introspect to put in there, good tips and everything for us. So before we leave, I want to kind of blast out your contact information. If people want to set up a session with you, get more information, tell us all about how we can get in contact.
Just look me up on Facebook at Jeffery Alvarez Photography. Also on Instagram, you can see me on as alvidecali. Right
Okay.
there.
Alvidecali.
Alvidecali.
Yeah, there we
You
go.
know, or Jeffery Alvarez Photography, either one.
Okay.
Will work. Hit me up, send me a message, and we'll work something out.
That
Cool.
sounds great. Okay, Jeffery Alvarez, nice to have you. And you're going to come back on the show later on, I'm sure, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, with some
You just-
more.
Are you gonna have me back?
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay, cool. It works for me then.
You get some more images out there. We'll have you back in a second.
Cool.
Definitely. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up the Dave K Show for today. Thanks you for joining, everybody. Hopefully one day we'll get some live calls coming in, but we will see you next time. And everybody have a great day.
Night, y'all.
Bye.
See ya.